Welcome to the As Yet Unnamed podcast. My name is Lauren O'Brien. First and foremost, thank you guys. I just want to tell all you guys listening out there, thank you so much for I've gotten so many good recommendations, plenty of ideas. I've had people stop me while I'm at work, people that are just out there. I honestly didn't expect you guys to listen, so I just want to share my appreciation for you guys, and just you guys are the reason I do it. And once people start telling me to stop doing it, I'll keep doing it.
Stop doing it.
Stop, please.
Yeah, you guys have all been so sweet, and I just really appreciate everything you guys are doing. Next week, we are officially naming the show, and next week's episode, I want to let these guys in the here that are here at the
Are you giving away
podcast
the
name
name?
day
Like,
episode?
wait,
no, it's just the guys here at the podcast don't know. But next week, we're talking
Wait.
about our failures and how they've done good things for us. Why failing was so good in the time that it was, and why it was productive too. So stick around and tune in next week.
I won't
for
be
that.
here next week.
Oh, that means it will be a good episode. Today we are actually breaking a rule that I made when I first started this. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to start off with actually, before we continue, could I just have you guys go around the room and introduce yourselves?
Ron Baca.
The usual guy.
Yeah.
That-
Nice to
What happened?
have you. Hi.
That it
Podcast is going
Nervous as all hell, Baca.
Hey.
So we've got Ron over here. I don't know why I have to do his introduction. And then,
Sean Hill,
all right.
sitting over here.
Hey, everybody, I'm Sam Mitchell. How's it going?
And then today we got a special guest with us. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
How do you do, everyone? My name is Michael Lanier, but they call me Swampy, so that's what they'll be
You're
referring
gonna-
to me for the remainder of the show.
You're going to hear us say it all night, Swampy. We
Swampster.
literally never call him Michael.
Yeah, I don't know
And
who the fuck
I
that is
honestly,
anymore.
this
There's
is the
somebody
first time I
says that here.
heard your actual,
Is it,
right.
Is it
name.
like the? Is it like the third?
No, it's
Is it the first
not-
one in the?
you're not
it's
Swampy the
barely
third?
the first. I was named after my dad's crazy Jewish friend, Michael Israel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what do you do for a living, or like to do, or like tell us just a little bit about
Well,
yourself.
you see, I'm a professional mendicant. I
A
have
mendicant.
a mendicant. Yes. It is a very trying job. It takes a lot of effort, but I do my best.
Why are you doing the fake
What is a
voice?
mendicant?
Oh, it's a bum. It's pretty much a bum. It means
Why didn't you just call yourself a thespian? We all would have known.
I like women, but I'm a guy, so I'm
I
not
have
a
an
thespian.
art degree.
For any thespians out there, I'm sorry. I don't mean to imply that you're homeless, but you probably are. I was homeless for a while, so I'm on your team. Don't.
No, I live in a
don't-
house. I'm just a bum.
Oh, okay. And so, because we forgot to do it last week, this week I'm also, before we get into our main topic, we're gonna do our word of the day. People have been asking me, "Hey, what's your podcast about?" And I really like people asking me that because I have no fucking clue. I don't know what I'm doing. I just started doing this just to see if our first 3 episodes would go well, and I think tonight's gonna go just as good as the last 2. Again, when people have been asking me what's our podcast about, I'm like, I don't know. We bloviate. We bloviate about everything.
Bloviate.
So bloviate is the word of the day. Bloviate means to talk at length, especially in an inflated or empty way. And so what you're going to hear tonight...
Wonderful.
Yeah, right.
It's
so
really a fantastic word.
it really is. It's beautiful. And it describes this podcast 100%.
Wait, say it one more time.
Bloviate.
Bloviate.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dictate. And with the news.
And what the news. Anyway, so one more thing I want to address before we jump into our topic, because Sean has got an exquisite idea that I disagree with, and I want to touch on that. Next week, I'm officially naming the show, as I already mentioned, and I've got, I think, 5. I can't count right now. I've got 5 ideas, I think. The first
Let's hear
one
these losers.
was by Nebula, one of our friends here in Hayfork. She thought, or her daughter Maggie rather said,
No.
call it.
No.
Who did it then?
Maggie Alvord.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh my.
Anyway,
Shout-
I don't know why I thought it was
Why don't we
Nebula.
just let Sean tell the story on this one? He seems to
Yeah,
have
take
the.
the lead.
So why don't we just throw the first shout out to Maggie Alvord for thinking the podcast or stating the idea as needle in a hayfork.
By the way, if you don't know who we are, Hayfork is the town we live
And
in.
thank you, Maggie, for being such an awesome singer.
Thanks,
very
Maggie.
clever.
And plug Apple Fest coming up on October 19th.
Applefest, where at?
Come check it out in Weaverville
Plug.
at an address that I will come to later.
Wow, such
Stay
a
tuned.
helpful
Stay
plug.
tuned.
Tune in next week for that address.
Anyway, so Needle and a Hayfork is the first one. Black Sheep and Bad Apples is a brainchild of Sam and
my
I,
vote.
which I really like. One of my best friends from back home, Vinny, he said just call it the As Yet Unnamed podcast, and I was like, that's pretty good actually. And then my friend Kyle,
Kevin will love it.
yeah, he would. My friend Keith Mocha, he's down south right now. Anyway, he said to call it "Friends Are the Worst" because we just bloviate about that so much. But ding. And then the last one,
Word of the
I don't really
day.
like it, but a lot of people do, is the Lauren O'Brien show. So if
Fucking
you guys,
hate that.
yeah, if you guys have any
Garbage.
suggestions,
Trash,
please-
Trash.
Boo.
Boo. Hiss.
boo,
Boo.
boo.
Black sheep and bad apples.
And then
What about
then somebody
I'm thinking the As Yet Unnamed show with.
Lauren O'Brien.
what
Lauren
about
O'Brien.
fermented brain fruit?
Well, because
What?
brain fruit's
What
a real
happened?
thing, isn't it? You're a fucking
Brain fruit, that's like where you squeeze your scrotum really hard.
yeah.
you show your balls to people.
I think we've been doing it differently throughout our days.
Anyway, so again, tonight's topic, thank you guys for waiting around, is politics. Now, I want to talk to you specifically, Sean, because the other day we were talking on the back porch of the cafe, Northern Delights. Plug. And I don't know where you got this crazy idea, but I'm just going to read from you my notes. You said something to the effect of, we need to have 4 capitals in the cardinal directions, because you were drunk, so everybody can visit the capital. I mean, where's the president going to be? Where's the president going to be? You never know. He could be in one of 4 places. Tell me more about why you think that's a great idea, because I think
Well-
it's a fucking terrible one.
What if we split them into 4 parts?
No, so what? Here's
Just 4 quarters of the White House get moved to different parts.
no, but like the White House is great. It's all awesome. It's
Do you hate America?
no, it's all cool. But there's like the Eastern architecture, and then everybody on the East Coast is like, oh, in our field trip in school, we went to the White House, and I'm like, you know how many it's the West Coast coming up in public schools like, oh, I just went to the White House. No, it's like, dang, you saved up your vacation time from work and like your spare change out of the tip jar, and
Or
like,
you guys had a school project? that
yeah,
took you
oh
there?
dang, you traveled to you went and saw DC. Nuts, how was it? And you're like, oh, it was crazy. But everybody from the East Coast is like, well, yeah, I took a field trip in high school or something like middle
No.
school, 7th grade. It was like if you did good on your thing, you get a field trip there. And I'm like,
It's like
so,
it was a day trip.
rooted with why aren't kids on the West Coast getting a field trip to the White House? Maybe.
Well, before you continue, there was a senior class of mine that went on it was like AP Politics or something like that, some class that actually spent the $3,000 or whatever it cost to fly over there for 5 days and did go to the White House, but it was a very, very exclusive group. So
Yeah, that's-
continue.
yeah, yeah.
Because West Coast people do that.
But that's like a typical like middle school travel. You go see the White House because it's your capital, and they're like, "You got to see the capital. It's part of knowing where you came from."
I'm
And
from
that-
Louisiana. I think we went to like a pig farm or something.
Yeah, see, there you go.
What is the capital of Louisiana?
It's a
Baton
pig farm.
Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
Oh yeah,
But-
like I said.
It means
Former-
red stick.
But point brought up, if there was a capital
So,
in Texas,
Dog dick?
Come again?
No.
Sam, does your dog still have a priapism?
I don't know. He's not here.
We're gonna edit that part out. Anyway, sorry. You guys, let's keep it together on the show.
Keep it
Go ahead,
classy.
Sean.
so instead of the pig farm, Swampy, that you went to, you could have just drove to Texas, right next to Louisiana, and went to the U.S. Capitol in Texas, and then
You mean
Maybe.
the Alamo?
No, he's saying
As well.
because in this scenario there's four nation capitals. There's in the cardinal direction. You've got the one in the east,
fuck
which is
does Texas
DC.
get one?
I don't know. He's the one
That's-
making up the
maybe the
hypothetical.
Alamo becomes the Aloe.
The aloe
They
becomes
just
aloe.
refurbish the Alamo. It's been looking pretty shit.
That's what I'm
aloe
saying.
vera
Should
Maybe it
refurbish.
becomes
Battle of the
like
aloe vera.
Battle of
Finally,
aloe
Maybe
they
it-
let it get
Karen,
destroyed.
no!
And then you got to pick the North state. Which one's going to get it, Wisconsin or Michigan?
No.
It's
North Dakota for sure.
obviously
North Dakota. Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
don't sleep on North
All right,
Dakota.
I'll
They'll
give it-
freeze
I'll
you
give
out.
North
Have
Dakota
you
because-
ever been to the Badlands?
Is that what it's called?
Literally like driving across North Dakota is like driving across another planet. It's
Because I've heard
if you have to drive across the country,
Yeah.
take the fucking 90 for God's sake.
Michigan is so pissed right now.
And in South Dakota,
You got to go through Michigan to get to
I
like
get
the
it.
90 goes through Michigan. There are all the Great Lakes.
yeah.
Parody. Sorry.
And then you got to throw a West Coast one.
No, yeah.
So
let's-
that's Sacramento, obviously.
that's my.
There's
thought.
going to be some liberal arguments about where the capital on the West Coast is going to be because
right.
you know San Francisco's going to be like,
Eureka.
"Don't short,
Yeah, but the libs can
we
go
built the
fuck
Bay
themselves.
Bridge, like yeah, like we got Golden Gate."
Well, I thought this was about like compass directions. That's the largest city located
like this.
in the center of the coast. So it's like
Sacramento?
Sacramento.
Yeah, of course.
But
It's like there's nothing really big
Well,
in
when you-
size north or south in a
There's just
reasonable
gonna be
distance.
What
some-
about
You're
Area
either-
51? It's already really well defended.
Well, when Sean
That's a
originally presented the
casino, and
idea,
we all
Sean,
know that.
Sean, when you originally presented the idea, you said that you wanted the fourth White House to be in San Francisco.
I think I'm just saying it
It
makes
couldn't
sense.
be white. It has to be.
Yeah, rainbow
I didn't say that. I was
Multicolored.
gonna say that, but I didn't.
with
being
purple.
queer again?
With purple.
What?
I hope so.
What?
Nothing.
Is that allowed?
Okay, so editing that out as well.
So
So
we-
what was the idea? Like, what made you think of like 4 capitals? Because that.
Well, then obviously, where's the president going to be? Terrorist attack. Oh no, they're taking out the White House. We can and all this type of stuff.
How many
No,
terrorist attacks do we have? One? We had one.
but everybody wants to take out the White House.
Oh, I see.
This is the only reason I like this idea is clone the president 4 times, and they stay
Just 3 times,
in the
Ron.
capital, depending on
one
which
You might
which
need one
you're
extra.
local
Yeah,
to,
just
regional
extra
and shit.
five.
I like this idea because then we could have like a gladiator of all 4 presidents.
No, at the end of
clones.
I would love. I mean, I would love to see at the end of every president's presidency, like, oh, you got reelected. You did your 8 years. Now you have to fight your clones to death.
Clone deathmatch, 2020.
How are we gonna know the original? We don't.
There
know.
can be only one.
They've been swapped so many times.
Christ. This-
The new American Highlander political system.
so
I'm just saying. Then everybody can rank like a football team where they want their. They're like, no, we're like for San Francisco, like mints. You got to think about it like mints. Is there one mint in the country? Why do we have more mints than capitals?
he's talking about
And
the currency making
Altoids?
place. No, the
No,
place that
man,
makes
it's like-
currency.
I'm more of an Andes fan.
Like our money is made.
Andes are
You
good.
know, we got the D stamp, the S stamp, and then the one that doesn't get stamped. And that there's like 3 U.S. mints.
Because who the fuck cares where the money gets printed? It's all fake anyway.
I just want money.
The power of the presidency is fucking abundantly real. We talked about it in the first episode. It's a button attached to fucking 1,600 nuclear fucking weapons, like, or whatever the fuck it was. That's palpable. Where the money's printed isn't. See,
Dude.
it's already a political episode. We're arguing about dumb shit.
You know what? And fuck the Federal Reserve.
Those
They're
guys
not,
can
They're not even.
eat humongous rotten.
That,
Fuck this
dicks.
slow crawl takeover of economy into our government.
I mean, they've
Like
been doing it throughout the world. They've got 3 organizations now. They've got the World Bank, the IMF Bank, and then the Federal Reserve, which isn't actually federal.
Can we play just Rage Against the Machine and be done with this conversation?
wow.
Well, like, yeah, I love that
Just play
idea.
one whole
I love
album,
that
call
idea
it
of like
good.
anarchistic, free marketing, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, like, even if we just took all the playing field and leveled it for everybody, we took all the money from all the rich people, we distributed it evenly across everyone, we gave everyone equal access.
Socialism.
So, but
Go ahead, go ahead.
like a free market, everybody gets a free start. Socialist free start, free market. I don't know what that is, which is a hypothetical situation.
level the playing
this isn't
field.
about politics.
Unionize everything,
It's
level
not.
the playing field.
It's not about. But my point is not about politics or political ideologies. My politics is about people. Because at the end of the day, some people are always going to try and fucking accrue this power, this wealth, this manipulative ability over the top of other people to suit themselves for whatever reason. It doesn't matter what the system is. You're always going to need to regulate people when it comes to things like what you can do with the environment and what is essentially everyone's.
So
Because fucking socialism, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, dude, this is all our planets. It's Trump's planet.
would you disagree?
Unfortunately, as much as it is my planet, we are each just people.
I wholeheartedly agree, and that's one of the things. One of the things that government should be regulating hard as fuck is what happens with the public space.
So
that's what our economy really should be based on.
I wanna
our
a-
natural.
I want to ask you
world,
guys this:
the
do you guys
health of
think
it.
government is necessary in that? No matter, like, we'll say that we destroy the current government, and we just live in anarchy. I personally am of the belief that a new government would arise.
Hollywood made anarchy.
Would you guys agree with that?
It's not real.
Anarchy
Because
is
I
I don't think people like that idea of like that Mad Max shit. Right?
Yeah,
Yes, but if you look, that's not anarchy either.
no.
Like
that's
those are
what
they're
I'm saying.
organized scumbags.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what
there's
I
a
mean?
bunch
Like,
of little
Exactly.
organizations.
all you're gonna do is go back to this might makes right shit, and we'll have to work back through all the fucking like social paradigms to get back here to have this argument again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what really needs to happen is that everybody needs to get so fucked up by their own dumb shit selves that they either have to realize what they did or die. And then the people that realized and didn't die, they're going to create something, whatever that is.
That was a
That-
very vague generalization.
No, I know, it's
of,
super
like,
vague. What do I don't
you
have any
gotta
fucking
figure it out
answers,
or
dude.
die. What is
Well,
it?
and none of
I'd
us are
like to
economists. None of us are like political science majors or anything like that. We're all just
I've
a
studied
couple
a fair
of
bit of
podunk
ecology.
human
though.
beings.
I can speak fairly intelligently on that. As far as our ecology goes, we're destroying it. It's
Right.
fucking
Right.
We're letting the money
Right.
just fuck up our natural world, and that is
Right, we're
pretty
allowing-
much on a spaceship. Earth is
So-
a giant spaceship barreling through space, and our environment is our life support system.
Let me ask
If
you
we
this, Swampy.
Fuck that up, we're fucked.
Let me ask you this.
So,
So,
what happens
so in
is
this
that
global,
less people can live in that environment eventually.
So in this
Less
global,
anything.
in this global state of the world, what is the function of our government? What should be the function of our government?
That's a good question. Like, what should it do in an ideal world?
Yeah.
Right now, it just kind of kills brown people half a world away, and that's where most of our money goes.
Let's
A little bit of
touch on-
roads. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Let's touch on Greta Thunberg. Have you guys seen this girl?
The climate activist.
Oh, yeah.
And the rest of her ilk.
Yeah. Ugh.
Ugh,
Ilk.
did.
For the record,
Why can't that be my kid sister? No offense, Rose. I love you. You're an amazing kid sister, but
that's not true, Rose. You should hear the stuff that he says off air.
hey, shut up. But seriously, what a powerful sort of persona for someone so
and at the very,
diminutive.
I know a lot of people
way.
disagree with what she says. I was actually looking through a lot of like the comments on Facebook about some of the things that she said, and man, people were fucking out there with it. There's all these people trying to attack her, saying she's being like manipulated and stuff like that. And the issue that
by
I
the facts.
yeah the issue that
I was manipulated by the truth. And
the issue that I'm coming up with is the 16-year-old girl is standing up and being like, "Hey guys, we're kind of fucking things up. We should try to change this, right?" And then like the Facebook comments alone just they enthrall me because it's these people going like, "This dumbass bitch, this stupid cunt, she needs to go back to her sweet Finland and like fuck off." And it's like, so she's literally saying, "Hey guys, we should try to improve this before it gets worse, right?" And all these people are like, "Fuck you, fuck her, eat a dick." And it's like, what the fuck? So you guys don't want to change anything? Because my personal opinion is that our democracy has never been a great democracy, but it's been constantly improved upon. I was watching this episode of Adam Ruins Everything, and it's an episode on voting, and it's really fascinating. What I love at the end of it is that he's got this beautiful little like happy ending to it. He's like, what he says is something I'm going to try to paraphrase. And he said something about like, look, democracy has never been something that's like a perfect system. We didn't make democracy 280 years ago or whatever, and we were like, this is it. This is the perfect form of government. What we did was we set up a government that could constantly be edited, that could constantly be rearranged. And so for me, we're never going to find a perfect level of democracy because every day things are changing. But that's the reason why democracy is so effective, is because as things change, we get to help change the systems that encapsulate this world that we live in. And I think what Greta's trying to do right now is actually very admirable. I know a lot of my friends here in Hayfork, especially some of my conservative friends back home, wouldn't agree with me. But I think that we definitely need to make these steps, because it's all about this money. Like, if we can fuck over the world and make a profit, cool. I'm gonna be dead in 50 years. I don't give a fuck what the world looks like. I just want to eat caviar and do cocaine off strippers' tits. You know what I mean?
To some degree, it's that like caviar and cocaine stripper tits thing, but I think it's less like oh, I'm gonna fuck over the world for profit, like sitting there evil.
It's not like some looming villain.
Do you guys remember Inspector Gadget? There was
Yeah.
a Professor. I'll get you next time.
Oh,
Inspector
yeah.
Gadget. Next time. That guy doesn't really exist.
No.
Right? He's an archetype to try and put some like rhyme or reason to people that like hoard, and I specifically use that word, hoard power.
Yeah.
Or money. Because to me, it's no different than like the fucking old lady who's clearly mentally sick, who hoards her fucking adult diapers and dead cats in her kitchen. And they have shows about this. You can go watch the show Hoarders, right? Every single one of those people that they have is specifically chosen because of how spectacularly sick they are.
Yeah.
But that fucking sickness of hoarding doesn't just include dead cats and dirty diapers. It includes fucking fishing lures and money and slaves and oil bonds and power. And so when I see people there collecting these things, to me, I see the fucking crazy lady with the dead cats in her freezer.
Me too.
And I'm wondering why we're letting the crazy lady with dead cats in her freezer that are gilded, like, run shit.
Yeah.
And so is Greta. You know what I mean? It's like when I hear her and her contemporaries' words that like speak to me, they're the words that have been in my mind as I'm watching, thinking somehow that like everything will be okay.
Yeah.
Knowing
I'm
that
honestly
it's so
at the-
fucking not.
I'm honestly, I'm at the point where I'm like despondent and sad. Like I think about how much change. I mean, me and my peers are trying to like my generation is trying to push through, and how much resistance we're getting from the older generations. And it's not necessarily them either. It's just a generalization, and all generalizations are incorrect. But there's this like push that we're on this fucking train and we're trying to go down these tracks, and we've got all these old people at the very end of the fucking train, and they're just laying on the brakes as hard as they can, and we're like, no, the fuck we're not. We ain't going towards progress. And like it really sucks to say, but like lifting the connection to the last bit of the train, like letting them go is like we can't legally do that like outside of this metaphor. And so what we have to do is we have to compete for these things that we know to be truth.
Because at the end of the day, there's more of us than there are them.
Indeed. Eat the rich.
And
And it makes me
it's
sad.
only their rules
Yeah.
that keep us, to some degree or another, from saying things that go beyond the like, oh, let's argue about this. But at some point, if these people don't change their ways, there won't be an argument anymore.
Do you think that has any...
It'll be like none of us have a choice. We either literally have to fucking eat you or we're gonna die.
Sean,
So like that eat the rich shit always it's got a
It
double
tickles
chuckle
me.
for me.
Yeah, me too.
Because there's the like funny haha eat the rich, but then there's like a very real like if we
keep going down this road,
don't fucking get help for your hoarding.
It's
Like,
kind
it's
of
gonna-
destroy
it's
the
literally
dragon
gonna
and
kill you.
reclaim
It's gonna-
his hoard of gold. Sort of shit.
Right. That idea like, oh, I got a stack of money, I don't know where to hide it. when I'm asleep is the only time I can't guard it, so I'm gonna sleep on it.
So, Sean, I want to ask you this: do you think that the way that we speak to each other in regards to politics is detrimental to the way politics runs? Do you think that we could smooth over the words that we use? We could find a way to relate to each other and communicate better in order to get this ship running in the right direction? So many mixed metaphors: trains, ships. Anyway, because I don't mean to
I just
interject on
went
your
down
answer.
like
Go
an
ahead.
illusion of a riverboat, like a riverboat queen, but just kind of got paddled on down the stream.
The question
Too much
was.
songwriter.
Yeah,
There was too much description in that, so I was like,
Yeah, I'm
wait,
sorry,
what
that
am
was-
I trying to visualize right now?
that was me bloviating. Pating.
Whoa.
No, but
Word of the day.
But I guess what I'm asking is, do you think that there's a change that we could make to the way that we talk about politics that can
Yeah.
change the face of politics?
It's called vote.
Just that?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. And everybody sighs, and oh fuck voting, my vote doesn't make a difference. And then you forget that, yeah, like if you don't vote in your local government, you're pissed about the sheriff that knocks on your door later because he's the dick that got elected. And then you forget that he is the representative that elects the official that gets in the county seat, and so on and so forth down that deal that you're like, the representatives of our state that are voting for the president. It's them that's voting, not us. And I'm like, well, you put people in position that are like meant to vote for the things you want and stuff. And all you can do is like pass it on down the line, because unless you want to take charge of it and be that politician, which everybody's like, fuck politicians, it's stupid, like, which is rooting back to this, like, well, why not anarchy, and why not this, and why not that? And I'm like, because we made a system we can't follow through with. If people would just get involved in it and find out why it's corrupt to begin with, to be honest, is everybody stands on the outside of the fucking fence and goes like, oh, but that shit's wrong and that shit's wrong. I looked it up on Google. I saw a report. I did this. I read that. But then I'm like, yo, did you vote for like, who's going to be our sheriff this year? And like, fuck you, I don't vote. I'm not from this county. I'm just barely burnt. And I'm like, well.
Certainly the game is rigged, but if you don't play, you can't win.
You can't
That's
even
what I
bitch
was-
about why you lost because it was rigged.
Well,
That's what I was going to ask.
You know what I
Is
mean?
that,
Like,
is that if we're going to build a more perfect union, we need more people to participate, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
there is a swing vote that can happen very easily, and we all pretend, and that was like the whole hippie movement back in the 60s, is like, if we all get together, we can swing the vote.
not the hippie movement,
I'm
but
just
the
saying,
but like
There was a
the
political
mi-
movement
like
involved,
I
too.
think like one of the like real standout points from protests in the 60s of civil rights, the Million Man March.
Yeah, no, and there was some
Can
shit
you
that got,
imagine?
like-
Just try and put yourself in the shoes of these fucking fat back, fucking politician, white cracker ass old bitch motherfuckers sitting there in
You mean the people
DC?
without term limits?
Right. People without term limits. When a million plus black people decided they were just going to walk the fuck up to the front door.
Yeah.
And like take this in context. You know?
But
a lot
now-
of those people sitting there didn't think of the fucking people walking to them as even being fucking people.
what I
They
get.
were there was like a primal terror in
No,
their hearts.
Because
on
there's a
some level.
million people out there that
Oh,
are
with
willing
that-
to be violent to
with-
get what they
It was
deserve.
not weren't willing to be violent.
no, but that's the way they saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way
there was
they
the
saw it.
potential for it.
Yeah.
In their heart.
But yeah, and what I get at though is that was a time when like, you know, people didn't have rights to vote, and there was a civil movement and all this type of stuff. Now people bitch about Trump's tweets.
Oh,
And they're like, I was offended. And I'm like, yeah, but
Well, he's
oh,
super
what are you going to do?
offensive.
Like, yeah, but like on a tweet, really, come on.
But there should be a decorum
You don't even-
expected of the highest office.
You don't
of our
even
country.
vote, but you count
Don't
your like
act
on the
like
like
a
meter. Like,
fucking rambling jackass.
No,
when
you could
you're-
say all the slang you want, in my opinion, as long as you're at least, on some basic level, at least pretending to be coming from a place of the fucking, of doing right. Or being kind on some basic level as best you can.
God
Yeah.
damn it, guys. This is why I don't like to talk about politics or religion, because
Ron-
basically on the same level, it's morals and values.
Do you think we can
That's-
improve our
that's why
current
there's-
system?
Dude, I don't know if like it's possible to others than like a majority comes into control or whatever, where they all agree on their morals and values. That's basically laws and regulations. Is like they brainwash people to a certain extent to where they're like, these things that are said by our system are morals and values now.
Yeah,
so everything else is fucked, which is not necessarily true for everyone. It's all speculative and fucking relative. You know?
I kind of want to disagree with you on that, Ron. No offense, but like on some very basic level, if you take any person at all who hasn't been severely fucking fucked up by some traumatizing thing or something like that, and you isolate them and you start to ask them about their morals and values, you're going to find that most people's morals about being kind and nice and not violent are the same. There's very few people out there that are willing to go and stick a gun in somebody's face and fucking take their shit and rape their sister and fucking do horrible things. But there'll be one person, and if they get to the place of being the leader, right? When they're the leader,
that's where everybody else follows suit, right?
Then all these beta cocks start fucking following. Ooh, look, well, the leader's doing it. And this, and you know what I mean? Like this thing, this darkness, because we're, the yin yang of ourselves.
Beta cucks.
Comes out. There are people out there willing to do those things, but they're not brave enough to do them unless the leader does them first.
Yeah, because we need leadership. Because
we need leadership. Because we need regulations on our environment. Because the tragedy of the commons is a very real thing.
And
right?
just as a broad statement,
the ego is a real thing.
Just as a broad statement, I think most of us here can agree is my political philosophy is anything that's compassionate and kind to other people and trying to give them a little step up, while still also being like, look, if you fuck up too hard, we've got to fuck you up. Like, we've got to put you in prison. We've got to do something. I don't want people to have absolute freedom to do whatever they want, but if I had my way over the government, what I'd want you to do is subsidize the amount of caretaking that we actually do for this world, whether it's like people, whether it's the environment, I really like the fact that constantly on my newsfeed I could see what species is going endangered and what species is coming out of endangerment.
So I feel like I want to interrupt and interject is we have in America a very obvious thing that's a jury by your peers.
Mm-hmm.
How many people get jury summons and how many of them throw in the goddamn trash and don't show up or don't call in and don't show up, even though they know they might not have to do anything, but they actually take the time out of their day, your, as quotation marks, patriotic duty and stuff. Because then what happens is everybody's like, no, fuck that, just like the voting thing and just like that, and the ill participation. And then all we do is sit behind the lines waiting for somebody else to fight for the rights that we agree upon, but they're not the people we want because we didn't
And just like
there's
the
this
voting
effort,
thing,
so it's like you have to participate some part of effort to make sure that that's a foundational thing for us to build upon. Because if the foundation is rubble, you're not going to build a structure in a building.
Like the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah, it's like so. If we all sit there bitching about the
jury
squeaky,
duty, want to on some level be there. They're like I should be on jury duty instead of people just getting the summons and being like, it's my civic duty to society to at least show up to this if I can.
What's weird is I go to jury duty.
And it's real easy to make the excuse that you can't.
What I see is though as a weird thing is I see people in jury duty when I'm sitting there and they're like like going through the rounds, attendance, and they say your name and then a reason if you can't be there. And I'll watch men and women both alike that are like, because I hate fucking cops. Or because fuck that, I don't like pigs. Or some bullshit reason where they're like, I ain't coming to this, I ain't being on your fucking trial. And I'm just like...
Yeah, or the other end of that, which is like, well, if you guys arrested him, he's obviously...
But you showed up to state that.
My peers would probably think that.
No, but you show up
him on my trial.
No, yeah, but you show up physically, and you're like, this is the reason why I don't think it's in the best of your opinion for me to be here, instead of the person that just gets the jury summons, even though they took the time to get an address in a place that they're not sure if they really live and shit to receive mail at and throw it in the trash. And an ID, a government-issued ID, and the right to vote and all these things, but then they get a jury summons and they're like, fuck, why would I participate? That's bullshit. I just throw that shit away. And I'm like, really? I'm like, well, that's your peers in this this place is the people that are throwing away the trash can. Then you wonder why somebody has to go through a trial or an error, or why the rules and the laws are how they are. And you're like, well, we got a corrupt system. And I'm like, well, we got a corrupt system because you keep allowing the people that are the only people to vote are the corrupted people. The only people making the changes, the only people saying a say on it are the people that you either like or don't like and have an opinion on it, but you're not saying anything about
Well,
this.
that's the thing. We don't, as people, don't really have a say. We have a representative system, so we elect this jerk, and he pretty much gets bribed by whoever and does what they say.
Well,
We don't get our say really in anything
when
whatsoever.
when you're on a jury, you get your say.
Yeah, that's what
At
I'm
least
like.
on a
you get a
jury,
112
poor-
say in
towards
in-
this
in
poor
the
jerk
thing.
who got caught with a dime bag, but like.
Maybe not. Maybe it's something
I
else.
think
So
our
if-
system would be improved a lot if, say, like a portion of our taxes, say, except for like maintenance costs for the government and fixing it, would be like you get to say, I want my money to go to science and technology development, roads, school, instead of being like, oh, we're going to spend 3/4 of your money on going to this country over here and blowing up people.
But you know,
So I got to
you've never
follow
met.
up. I've got to follow
But
up for
we
this
vote for
question, but
that,
I'm asking
like-
all of you guys. But have any of you guys served on a jury or been summoned to court for? You've served on a
for
jury.
sure, that's what I'm like. I was sat
You've
on
gotten
quite a,
picked?
not
Non-voting
picked,
felon.
but I've sat on quite. That's what I'm like. I've gone through the trials where I got up to the point. That's where I'm like, I've sat there for 3 days and then sat on the stand where they were doing their final deliberations and was like, went John, asked him some questions. Susan asked him some questions. Like, John, you can leave. And I was like, all right, well,
But have any of you guys
Definitely,
served
like-
on a jury? Is the question.
I've been summoned a few times,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, I just threw that shit in the trash.
Damn it!
You're one of the ones.
You're one of
no,
the
yeah,
peers.
no. For years, I've been one of the ones. Like, I don't know, not to come back to Greta,
No, please do.
but like that, like, fuck you, you're stealing my future.
yeah.
Shit, like that. I've been watching my future be stolen for years.
So
now.
one of my favorite TED
And
talks.
hold on, hear me out.
Go
Hear me out.
ahead. Sorry.
And like I voted for the last time I voted in an election was the first time
Ralph Nader.
Obama was up for election, and I moved my voter registration to Ohio. I lived in Ohio, but I moved my registration there instead of voting out of state in New York, and like cast my ballot somewhere to some more effect than it would be in New York. You know, New York's a guarantee on a presidential election for a Democrat, pretty much because of the electoral college.
yeah, the way that they frame their districts.
It's
is
not
kind of
even
fucked.
that. It's just that, like, at the end of the day, there's more Democrats. Like, a
Oh,
lot
really?
of New York is red if you look at, like, who's living where.
Yeah.
But the majority of the people who live in New York don't live in upstate New York. They live in, like, the cities of New York. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And so the people in the cities, I mean, generalization, but the people in the cities are much more.
Black?
I was gonna say
Poor?
democratic. Is the word I was gonna use.
No, but like, no, seriously, like I grew up in upstate New York. There was 3 black kids in my whole school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you drive 20 minutes to Albany, there's like 4 white kids in the school. So to me, there was a dichotomy there.
So
You know?
one of my favorite podcasts is the TED Radio Hour. It's where they take TED Talks and they kind of do a new interview and then they edit in their actual TED Talks into the story. And the one that I was listening to today is called Hacking the Law. And there was a lot of things that they were talking about, but my favorite thing that they were talking about was essentially the way that like districts are laid out is that it makes it like the
Gerrymandering?
yeah, exactly, gerrymandering. Like it makes it easier for like people in the Midwest to be able to their vote actually counts for 3 times what anybody else's vote does. And so So along with that, they were talking about like juries and going to prison and stuff like that, and they were saying that a lot of people in these poor cities. This particular segment happened in New York, in Brooklyn, I believe. I could be wrong, but what they were doing is this paralegal was realizing that people have to spend like days, months, weeks, sometimes even years in a jail cell waiting for bail because they don't have enough money to make bail. And what that ends up happening is causing them to go down this path of destruction where essentially because they're being charged for something innocuous like a bench warrant for a traffic crime or a couple grams of cannabis or something like that, these people get charged and end up losing their kids, losing their life. Like everything that they've ever known is now ruined because they can't afford the $500 bail that it takes to get out of jail, and so they end up losing again just everything. And what this particular segment was talking about was how there's some group, I can't remember, they ended up donating $500,000 to contributing bail money to people who would otherwise be in the system, because there's this really fucked up thing that happens where they're like, well, do you want to get back to work? Do you want to see your kids tonight? And they're like, yes, I fucking do. I would love to go and make more honest money and take care of my children like any God loving, whatever. And what ends up happening is these people are essentially forced into signing a document saying that they're guilty of their crime, so that they don't have to go to jury and stuff like that. And it's fascinating to me because, like, in order to, these people essentially make the decision: do I fight this in court because a jury of my own peers might see my side of the story, or do I just sign that I'm guilty for whatever crime that I may or may not have committed?
So coercion.
So that I can, it's exactly coercion. And this system ended up bailing people out. And the brilliant thing about it, the great news behind it, is that bail gets returned to you once you're done with your proceedings.
Right.
And so this $500,000 fund, if somebody needs $500 for bail, they can actually keep reusing this $500.
Very few of the people actually flee
Exactly.
on their $500 bail.
And what they were
because
discovering
it's such a minuscule offense.
Yeah, and at the end of it, they realized that they did the math after a couple years. I couldn't tell you how many, but they realized that only 2% of the people that they were advocating for were getting convicted of their crimes or were repeat offenders. And that most of these people were just honest Joe Blows that were just
Right.
out there doing nothing. And so there's like, we could talk about this huge, broad political system in regards to like the presidency, Congress, and stuff like that. But then we also have to, I personally think, focus on the way the actual criminal justice system works, because it doesn't. It doesn't work for
very much so
rehabilitation.
No, they don't rehabilitate people in this
No.
country. They
It's a money mill.
institutionalize them.
It is.
They're just trying to produce money and jobs for, like, we've had a privatized prison industry. That's terrifying.
right,
Like, the
right.
ability to
Corporate
make
prisons.
money off of locking motherfuckers up.
Corporate prisons were like something out of what was that Stallone movie, Demolition Man? You know what I mean? Like
Murder,
the
death,
corporate
kill,
prison
murder, death,
that like
kill.
held the Wesley Snipes character. Corporate prisons were always this sort of nefarious, like what's that called when it's not a perfect society, it's the opposite of it.
It's a dystopia.
Dystopia, yeah, utopia and dystopia, right? So it's always like some factor in like a dystopian story is the corporate prison system, and here we are with like a corporate prison system, and everybody's like, no, it's a utopia.
Has
Like,
anybody seen Super Jail?
Oh, I love Super Jail. It's one of my favorites.
only a
I'm
few
so glad you brought
episodes,
it up.
really. I
That's-
need to binge watch some Super Jail. Apparently,
This is exactly why I will not watch Rick and Morty.
Oh no.
If you have not seen
Don't-
Super
don't
Jail,
bring
I don't
Rick and
even
Morty
want to
into
like.
politics.
No,
Yo,
I'm
this
gonna-
could be your fucking tomato.
So anyway,
I'm bringing it up just because. No,
we got about 10 minutes
Plug?
left of the podcast, guys. How are we going to improve the world? I want to start with you, Ron. How are we going to improve the criminal justice system, politics in general, the government? What are your thoughts on how we can make a more perfect union?
Dude, our best hope, which is really kind of hard to say because not everybody thinks the same, but is like fucking stepping up and voting towards the fucking person that you believe is going to do the best in office regardless.
Yeah, no matter if it's local or
Yeah,
state or-
local more importantly,
I think so
probably.
as well, yeah.
For your immediate life, for sure. Local
Yeah.
politics that are
And-
like
Mr. Swampy, how do you think that we can improve the current state of politics and or our needing to be more perfect
Here's
union?
the thing. The world seems to be burning the fuck down. Our natural ecology is failing, and we need to start acting as symbiotes on our planet. We need to restructure our economy around a renewable resource. If we can, an ultra-renewable resource. We need to start collecting solar, geothermal, hydro. We need to be making everything out of fucking hemp, and we need to make it to last like they were back in the 1930s when we were about to go to fucking war and shit had to last for fucking ever.
I was going to call you hippie until you brought up World War II because that's a real event that happened. They started
Making shit that works well. I have a
Well, not only that,
typewriter
but
from
they-
1939.
They
That thing
made shit
beat
that
the
worked
hell out
well
of
right up
somebody
until the
with it.
70s.
A pony for every American.
Well, the thing I was more talking about is that they actually legalized hemp production again after World War One.
They did.
Simply because and I might have my facts a little wrong. Yeah, no, it was after World War One because they knew that there was going to be this ramp up to World War Two, and it might have been a couple years before
It was
World War II.
1933 when the weed got kind of legalized, but in World War II we started using
Yeah,
it again.
and our economy was boosted from it. So I was going to call you a hippie because you were like, we need to make everything out of hemp, but then you were like, in World War
this is
II, and I was
history
like, no,
shit.
that like you
Our
got this.
forefathers grew a lot of fucking weed, motherfuckers.
Sorry for my
Cannabis.
What? What'd you say? Sorry, I didn't mean to burp in the mic.
Wow, you savage.
I am a savage. Sam, how do you think we can improve our system, even to a small degree?
Ugh.
Recklessly.
Recklessly. Yeah, I think that firstly, I think no matter what, like our system will improve itself, whether that's good for people or not, humans on this planet, has yet to be seen. I have some more radicalized views on governance and stuff like that.
a radical.
No, but just seriously, like compared to today's politics, I'm like some fucking far left wing nut.
No, I'm in the same boat.
But at the same time, I think that like everything about a government, for the most part, is wrong, except for the purpose of a government is to protect as many people as possible at any given time. The only way to really do that is to make sure that everybody shares fairly and treats all our resources, which is everything, as a communal thing to be used on a need basis, not a want basis. And besides that, there shouldn't be any fucking rules at all. The only way we're going to achieve that, anything close to that, is to support people like Greta, to support people like AOC, to support people who choose some level of kindness before anything else.
Yeah, because that's what I really think government's about, is about extending a little bit of kindness that we can accrue as a community. Because the government started off as like little villages that decided where they were going to move and what they were going to do. And essentially, if a foreigner came to their lands, as they quote, you would give them safe harbor. You'd give them food and water, and like let them be okay.
Maybe
and then
not. I
let
mean,
them
really,
figure their own stuff out. After
If you want to talk about the original start of governance, you're going to look at like small primate group behavior in alpha, blah blah blah,
which is
and
a
go
subject
look
for
at
another
nature. Go look
podcast.
at nature.
Yeah.
Right. That's the original governance. Like the way that mammals behave in nature.
It's more
And
of
then-
like a
and now-
neighborhood watch type ideal.
Right, and it's not fair necessarily either.
Do you think it's equitable?
Everybody except for the weakest and the least useful, they keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Is that fair? Fuck no, it's not. Is it humane? Not at all. And the
But
fact
is it the
that we're
original way
talking
things
about
happen?
fair and humane as the two things that we do that are like aside from nature, right? We want to look for things that put us apart from nature. Well, we're fair and we're humane.
Yeah.
We know we have some moral
Compass.
codex,
Yeah.
right? We all know in our hearts when we're being a shit. Everybody knows when you're being a shit. whether or not
More
you
or less,
defend it.
yeah.
No, yeah, unless you're a fucking sociopath,
Yeah.
right? We have a term for that, sociopath.
Indeed.
Unless you're a sociopath, you know when you're being a shit.
Plug? Wait, no.
No, that's not a plug at all.
Yeah, plug for sociopath. Are you a sociopath?
Come
Try
down to
going to
the-
sleep
The
forever.
podcast.
Going to sleep forever. Recommended for sociopaths since
Sean-
time immemorial.
Sean, what if you could suggest anything to anybody in power as to how we could improve our community and the way we govern? What would be your suggestion?
Keep it the path you're at. Tell the people to vote. So when you're corrupt, you don't stick around.
When they're corrupt, can they get fired, but out of a cannon and into the sun?
Yeah, totally.
Out of a cannon.
Put it on the ballot.
into the
We'll all
sun.
agree
I
that
bet
if,
we'll
if
vote
the,
for it.
If the president wants, if we
That's true
impeach the
democracy.
president,
Like, we should be able to make a motion.
I'm just saying, it's on, like, if you put it on the docket that, like, yo, the president gets impeached, we are not only going to just, like, you're not
We're
here
gonna
anymore.
launch this motherfucker
You
into
were
the
launched
sun.
over the fence of the White House out of a circus cannon without any pre.
It's got to be a really impressive cannon to do it, though. We're
No,
gonna need,
you
like,
don't
an
get to,
induction
like,
catapult
work up
on
to
a
this.
mountain and shit.
That would
And we
be
can
the
use it for
only
other
jury
things,
summons
too.
Sam
We can't use
shows
a
up
rocket,
to.
though. That's wasteful.
That's I'm just.
You've
Like,
been summoned
rocket
to
is
it.
wasteful?
I'm there.
Yeah, we
Well,
need
what-
to
what-
make an induction
No, you're
catapult
right,
to
you're
get
right.
them into space, so
You're
we
right,
don't have
'cause-
to use the resources again to do it when
No,
another
you're right.
motherfucker
Because
gets
if we're
corrupt.
talking about sustainability and being aware of our finite resources, what we need to do is we need to imprison a bunch of these people who we decide to shoot out of a cannon and then shoot them all at once. Like
Ooh.
shoot, yeah, and so we'll take like 50 of them and stick them on a rocket and be like, "You guys are gonna be the first people to colonize Mars," and just shoot them into the fucking
What if
sun.
we put them on the moon and just let them like
They would
out
die.
there as a prison colony
They would
for
die.
a while? Yeah,
That's-
most
but-
of them
well,
would.
and
Some
What
would
happens
survive.
then?
Well,
You
and-
shoot them
Mine
into
and
the
ice
sun
and
story.
Then we'll have a Robert A.
They
Heinlein
don't
novel in
die.
like 100
That's
years.
the,
Or you-
that's
or
the
you-
U.S.
you
politics.
throw rocks
thing.
at us to
You
revolt.
can't say you're just like we all know if you shoot them into the sun, they're just gonna die.
We're going to
But
turn them into
there's the
constituent atoms.
possibility.
I want to talk about this
if you
whole.
shoot them to Mars, they might colonize.
I want to talk. That's the point I was
That
going to make. Is that if we start a
would be
prison
the
colony on the
hubris
moon,
of fucking
No,
man
hold on, hear
is
me
that
out, hear
they
me out,
would
hear me out.
colonize it and then come back like 200 years later to kick our asses after
Them
we
dumb
created
bastards.
That's
an
the
actual
point.
utopia.
Exactly.
That's why
Like if we
people
build
believe in
prison
aliens.
populations on any other planet, what they're going to do is they're going to unionize and they're going to create their own government. They're going to break out of their chains. And what they're going to do is they're going to have a lot of fucking anger and animosity towards the people that put them on the moon or
So
on Mars.
constituent
They're probably going to
atoms.
get a supercomputer. It's going to be fucked up.
This is why the Mayans were right from the beginning. They were like, dude, aliens, come on.
to
Come
shut
on.
the
Don't you
fuck
get it? Like,
up.
we're bartering with shit here, and they're kind of pissed because
We haven't even talked about it. Like, what do you think the politics of aliens are? Never mind. That's a terrible. That's a terrible.
Yeah,
What
I gotta
there was
think.
an
I gotta
ancient
think that if you
civilization
can
got
make
to
it across
space before it was
interstellar space,
destroyed, and they came back expecting to find the civilization and be like, "Whoa, this is fucked
Yeah, they were
up.
like, "Holy
this is wrong."
I'm just saying, our
Oh,
money
fuck
says in God
God.
we trust, and there's religions based off of aliens coming and fucking starting shit. So, like, who's to judge whatever's right? But I'm just saying, there's something involved with like
Everyone knows an alien came
The-
down and
the
Nobody
hand
just drew a
motion,
giant circle with
the
his
hand
hands, by the
motion
way.
with the hands, yeah, whatever that means. The hand motion around.
Circular Hand Motions by Sean, a new podcast.
So we've reached the time in our podcast where we're gonna stop podcasting.
Well, hey, wait, before we do, because I just thought of this, it kind of ties the whole thing together.
Bring it on.
Bring something back to like a really good point Sean made, because at the end of the day, we can all voice our like opinions on how things could be better.
Yeah.
But really, at the end of the day, if you want shit to be better, get the fuck out there and vote.
You really have to.
Seriously,
Like,
get out there and vote. And if you don't think that your vote counts, look
to
at
the
that
Midwest.
dumb shit here to bring it to the aliens. Hold on, making the connection here. Look at this dumb shit with the raid Area 51.
Oh yeah.
2 some odd million people
Are more
just
involved.
as a joke or
Click,
whatever.
I want to participate.
But, yeah, because you know
More
what?
people are
Honestly,
involved in Facebook than there are.
and
most
if,
people
and
have
if
been
only
in bands, though. We've seen the interested to the actual
but,
showing
but
up
if,
to the.
but if only
gig,
half of
right?
those people voted the way that only somebody who fucking agrees to raid Area 51 as a joke votes,
we could change things.
things would change. I don't know what they would change for. I really don't think that everybody that said, yeah, that sounds fun or whatever, haha, was politically or even maybe morally aligned, but that's a real fucking number. It was so real that the U.S. government was like,
They did
hey,
briefings on
don't
it.
fucking do this, and they put up like roadblock signs and shit. Like they took it.
They paid.
So-
They
so
did something. They took
essentially,
it somewhat
There's some guy
serious
in
to
an
some degree
office
or
that's
another.
printing these signs. It was like, really, I'm making these signs right now.
Yeah,
If I can
that
paraphrase
speaks
what you're saying,
volumes.
Sam.
It speaks volumes.
What,
They
yeah, what you're-
know.
we need these amount of crazy people to go out and do this stuff. But if we're gonna change this world, make it anything close to what we want to see before we all fucking die, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to get out there and vote. We're gonna have to participate and truly be a part of the system
Yeah,
that we
fucking
live
get out there
under
and vote like your life counts on it.
because it really does.
You can't
fucking
make
does.
a business shut down if you keep showing up and buying a sandwich each day.
Exactly.
And
Dude,
bitch about it. You know what
Bro,
I mean?
you
Maybe
can't
we
you
should-
Like,
can't
you know
make
what I mean?
a
Like-
fucking business change by showing up buying a shitty sandwich every day and leaving without saying anything about your shitty sandwich.
Yeah, that's like
If you every day drop a fucking complaint in the complaint box, eventually the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Indeed.
Maybe we're marketing ourselves the wrong way though. It's like the Area 51 thing. Their whole campaign was based on clapping them alien cheeks.
Oh yeah.
So maybe our whole platform for getting people to vote is like clap those presidential cheeks, bro.
Ooh,
maybe that's how we do
I
it.
like
That's how
that.
we get people to vote, man. It's
Clap
like,
the Prezi cheeks, bro.
oh yeah, you know, you got to get them to the candidates to come in through the back door if you need to.
what
so-
you won't. I'm
You,
just,
you
like,
won't.
What
you
you
won't.
gonna do?
No,
You won't.
I do. So let's call this the end. I want to thank all you
Goodbye,
guys for,
everybody.
for participating. What I am going to say though is that next week I'm announcing the name of the podcast, and I'm going to try to get it to as many different mediums as I can. It's kind of a long process. But what I want to let you guys know is none of us are political scientists. We're all just kind of obviating. Or no, it's bloviating rather. I'm
Bloviating.
sorry.
Thanks, Dictate.
We're we're bloviating about
I bloviated
politics.
all these
We
words.
might have gotten some of the details wrong. None of us are actually like super vehement about our, from the most part, our opinions.
fact,
what
we've
I
been
do,
drinking a lot.
What I
We're pretty obliviated.
and I'm getting kind of drunk. But the point I want to make is if you guys
Do
have
you talk
anything to
about
say, if you
politics
guys want to
sober
contribute
ever?
to the conversation, if you guys just give us a little bit of feedback and let us know what you guys truly think, because this is a democracy and this isn't about me. This isn't about us.
it's a
This is
republic,
about
but-
this is about what we do together and what rules we make together. So please participate in your local government, state, federal. I don't give a fuck. Let us know how wrong we are if you have to. YouTube comments, whatever you have to. And just thank you guys again for being with us.
And seriously, be as incensed about what's going on to our planet as these young girls are.
Indeed.
Fucking A.
Indeed.
Also,
thank you guys.
These young
remember to eat a healthy ecological diet. If you eat one
The
billionaire, that
The
is
rich.
worth all the vegans in the United States
All right,
together.
so I'm gonna leave this podcast with one last phrase. Remember to stay hydrated. Thank you.
Have we done a Bambi for the week?
Oh, we didn't do
Oh
a
yeah,
band
and
beef.
fuck Hobo
Fuck
Johnson.
Hobo Johnson.
You don't even like the environment. You probably said bad things about Greta
love that we
Thunberg.